Will Ron and Candy in Connecticut ever be able to retire? And are Bruce and Selina in Philly saving enough to retire? That's today on Your Money, Your Wealth podcast number 454. Plus, are Pebbles and Bam Bam in Kentuckystone missing anything when it comes to using their brokerage account to pay Roth conversion taxes? And Susan in San Diego, she's 55, spends about $36,000 a year, and has almost $1 million saved. Can she retire yet? And finally, our buddy Will knows that he shouldn't time the market, but if you've got money questions or want a retirement spitball analysis of your own, visit yourmoneyyourwealth.com and click Ask Joe and Big Al on air. I'm producer Andy Last, and here to spitball on all of these questions are the hosts of Your Money, Your Wealth, Joe Anderson, CFP, and Big Al Clopine, CPA.
Goes, hello, Joe, Big Al, Andy, my wife, Candy, our cat, Cody, and I find ourselves living in the Constitution state of Connecticut. Never occurred to us that we would settle in Connecticut, but here we are. First, with the important stuff. Candy drives a 2022 Nissan Rogue.
Yeah.
Like, those are kind of like a little bubbly, like a 4x4 or something.
Yeah.
SUV slash.
Yeah, it's kind of that's a smaller SUV, I think.
Got it. She loves it.
Yeah.
I drive a 2015 Honda Civic. Just good old faithful there.
That never dies.
Never
keep
dies.
that forever.
I rarely drink these days, but when I do indulge, an ice cold margarita from Costco.
Oh.
Buy a margarita from Costco.
Maybe.
I just learned so much from this show.
Prepackaged, maybe. I don't know.
Or a few.
Or maybe the Constitution states you can buy it at the window.
All right. Candy also goes for the margarita or a nice red wine. All right. I've been a devoted listener to YMYW on the iTunes app or the YouTube. It just calls it the YouTube.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows what that means.
Or on YouTube, it should say, versus on the YouTube.
I like the YouTube.
I like it too.
YouTube, I'm sure, likes the YouTube as well.
Yeah. We know you don't give advice, but we were wondering if you could do a little retirement spitball for someone in our situation. I turned 60 this year. Candy is a young 65 and Cody is 7. No kids in the picture. We earn about $150,000 per year. 100 for me, 50 for her. We both have 401ks and IRAs. I have a small pension. Candy has no plan to retire. I have been encouraging her to work less and enjoy life more, even if she doesn't. I hope to work another 5 years max. We have been through so many changes and layoffs in recent years. It may not be an option. When I do retire, I would probably pick up some part-time work at a local school or theater.
Like it.
All right. We live pretty simple. Our total expenses are about $70,000 per year or $68,937. Oh boy. We got an engineer on our hands here.
So he's going to ask a question about 5 years in the future. So the expenses are 79,917. 5 years.
We can round. Okay. You can round up or round down.
You can.
Here's the breakdown of our assets. Pre-tax 401ks is 526,000. Roth IRAs, 115. Cash, 100. Taxable brokerage, around 75. Currently, we're saving 25% approximately. $700 a week in retirement, all Roth 401k. Both employers match 401k contributions 50% up to 4, basically 2%. My current pension estimate is $1,700 per month. If I can continue to work for 5 years, it's estimated to be about $2,300 a month, slightly less because I'll likely take a 50% payout for my wife if I predecede her. Okay, expenses in retirement. We owe $150,000 on our mortgage at 3.25%. It is valued at $255,000. We owe $25,000 on the Rogue. We have no interest in paying either loan off early. Pun intended.
Okay,
Interest, get it?
Very clever. Yep. Just makes me
I need
smile.
a margarita. Just going through this question here. We expect to replace one car every 5 to 7 years. We always buy new cars and hold them for a long time. We expect to travel several times a year. We plan to remodel our condo modestly. Master bath, kitchen, countertops, replace vinyl flooring in the near future. Will I ever be able to retire? What are some of the things we should be looking for? Thanks for all your great content. Candy and Ron.
Right.
What do you got?
Do a little math here. Okay.
So he wants to retire in 5 years. Candy,
Yeah,
she's never going to retire. What does Candy do? Do we know?
No, we don't know.
Okay, we don't even know.
Anyway, Ron, yeah, you can retire. You got plenty here. So let me tell you the math. And so our listeners can sort of follow along and do the similar math on their own situation. So you gave us a lot of figures, but let me boil it down to what's important, and maybe even for our future listeners, how to say it. Okay, so you're starting with 800,000. Your
liquid assets. That's everything combined
assets.
What he has in 401ks,
right.
IRAs.
Now your real estate,
accounts.
right? Just your liquid assets for retirement, about 800,000. You're adding 39,000 a year. I don't need to know all this stuff about weekly and the matches, what percent. Just tell me. 39,000 includes the employer match. That's what I need to know. Then I'll say, then from your question, I'm just going to use 6% at 5 years. We get 1.3 million. So that's what you'll have in 5 years, given those assumptions. Okay. Now, if you work 5 years and Candy works 5 years, then she'll be 70. She can take her Social Security at 70. That'll be 34,000. Your pension's 28,000. Your expenses, I already told you, with inflation are going to be 80. So your shortfall is $18,000, and you got 1.3 million. Okay, your distribution rate is 1.3%. If it's 4%, I'm happy. 1.3, I'm ecstatic. So that also tells me you can probably retire earlier if you want to. I'm not going to do all these calculations live on the radio, but the point is, yeah, you can retire in 5 years. Maybe you can even retire earlier.
Yeah, I believe I agree with everything you're saying there,
And that's not even including your Social Security, Ron, because I haven't even factored that in. So basically, you don't even need the 1.3 million.
So he's 60. They make $150,000 a year. He's got a pretty good sized pension of 30, right? So it's paying about 30% of his income.
Yeah.
They have no kids, and they're pretty modest in their cars. How accurate do you think his $68,937 is in living expenses are?
Well, he's got some kind of spreadsheet to show that. However, at first blush, I would say you may be spending more than you think.
I think so.
And the reason is because if you're making $150 a year, of course, you're saving 36,
okay,
right?
But they have 800,000, 36,000. How long do you think they've been saving that much?
Yeah, not
5 years?
Not that long, probably. And the other thing is, even if you're saving, let's just do easy math. You're saving 30,000. You're making 150. Your taxes, I just spitball 20,000, right? So you got 100,000 to work with, and that even includes your 401k. Money's going to retirement. So it seems like there's extra money here that's slipping out the door that you may not be thinking about. Now,
he's got a spreadsheet.
Of course, because he's got an exact number. I'm surprised we didn't get cents. $937.24.
That's the only variance, because I think he's right on track. He's doing a great job. He's saving a ton of money today, right? And they're building this thing up.
Even if he's spending 100,
he's pretty still close.
Because with his Social Security, I think you're just fine.
Right. All right. Congrats. But what he wants to do all this remodeling though. Vinyl floors, new cars every 5 to 7 years, this, that, whatever. So plugging that in.
Still, if you use his numbers at face value, there's lots of extra. Right?
Yeah, if you take those living expenses. But the problem, I think, with Ron and Candy, it's not a problem. I think the area here is that each year they have something. Hey, we want to do the floors. We want to do this. We want to do that. So maybe their true living expenses is $68,000, but these added projects are $10,000, $20,000.
Yeah, maybe that's where
year.
That other money's
That's
going.
where that excess cash flow potentially could be going.
Yeah, still there's in the basic numbers we got, there's extra. Yep.
Are you cruising into retirement, or are you on a sinking ship? By plotting a good course and using proper tools and strategies, you can cruise into retirement. Unfortunately, many people need a life vest. They're ill-prepared and traveling without a compass. It's all about being proactive. This week on YMYW TV, Joe and Big Al show you how to keep your retirement afloat with the steps to prepare, adapt, and remain on course. Watch How to Cruise Into Your Retirement and download the companion Cruising into Retirement checklist from the podcast show notes. It's only available for a limited time, so download it before this Friday. Just click the link in the description of today's episode in your favorite podcast app. You'll see the TV show and the guide right before the episode transcript.
We got Bruce. It's 40 mil or 40-year-old male. And Selina, 38-year-old female. Batman inspired. So I don't get the Selina reference.
I don't either. Bruce, I get.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne. Selina.
Yes. I think that was,
I thought it was like Vicky Dale.
Is that Batwoman?
I think it might be Catwoman.
Oh, Catwoman, maybe.
Selina?
Yeah, that is Catwoman. Selina. Yep.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Both physicians at work and live in the Philadelphia area. Philly.
Yeah.
All right. Go Phillies.
Yeah. Phillies are doing great so far.
Yeah.
Just like last year.
Got the Twins.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, not doing so well. A drink of choice is little Hendrix gin and tonic and a little funky IPA. All right.
Any funky IPA we can find.
Just anything. If it's funky, I'm drinking it. She drives a 2020 Kia Telluride, and I drive a 2022 Mercedes GLC 300. I get
Perfect. Those are good doctor cars. Yeah.
Like Bruce.
Yeah.
He's badass. she drives a Kia, and he's got the Mac Daddy Mercedes.
Yeah, but she's got the biggest Kia they have, probably.
The Telluride.
Yeah.
We have two little ones under the age of 10. Our main question is, do we need to be saving more? And are there any tweaks we can make to optimize our retirement? I love to retire at age 60 and my wife likely at the same age. All right. Plan to defer Social Security till age 70 and think it'll be about $20,000 a month combined. Net worth of 1.1 with $500,000 in home equity. We have $350,000 in 401ks, $50,000 in Roths, $40,000 in a brokerage account, 529s have $100,000 in them, and we are funding them aggressively, $16,000 a year. Like most doctors, we got started late. We save around $120,000 a year towards our retirement between all of our accounts, $44,000 in 401ks, $50,000 in deferred comp, $13,000 in the old back door, $20,000 in brokerage. All our investments are in low-cost, broad ETFs. Okay, we have $350,000 in student loans, but they will be forgiven via the public student loan forgiveness program in the next 2 years. We spend about $200,000 a year. As we see salary bumps or bonuses, should we prioritize saving more, or do we have a reasonable plan?
Okay.
So he's 40.
Yep. 40. Got 20 years to go.
20 years to go. Saves $120,000 a year.
Yeah. So let's.
He's got $500,000 right now.
Yeah, we'll take out the 529 plan. So I'm starting with 440. Adds 120,000 a year, 20 years, 6%, 5.8 million.
5.8.
It's good, really good figure.
4 times 5 is, well, he's going to have about 300. You take the present value of that. He wants to spend 200,000 a year. He's going to be short.
It's going to be short. You're absolutely right. So 4% of 5.8 million. And I'm using, even though it's 60, you probably want 3.5%, but I'm factoring probably lots of Social Security, which I don't know. But anyway,
well,
so
he thinks it's going to be what,
20,000 a month combined, that's a bit high, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, without considering that, so I get 230,000 at 4%. That's what's available, and your 200,000 in expenses in future dollars is 360. Okay, so you're short by 125,000.
He needs another couple million.
Yeah, at least, right? And so, yeah, the tweaks that you do, and this is a good example because for anyone listening, it's not necessarily how much you have in retirement; it's the relationship between how much you have and what you're spending. Right. So, in other words, if you can take the $200,000 today, great lifestyle. You know, I know you're enjoying yourself, but if you could cut that a bit,
he's a doctor.
I know, and so it's hard to, right?
It's a stressful job.
I get it. I'm just saying, at least on the surface. Now, how do you fix this? So you spend less today and get used to living less, or you work longer. Maybe you work till 65 instead of 60. You know, there's lots of ways to fix this, but based upon the numbers here, it's short.
Well, you're not including any Social Security, correct?
No, because I don't buy the 20,000 a month.
Well, it's probably, yeah, he thinks it's $240,000 coming in Social Security.
No,
it might be
half of that.
Let's call it $60,000. So he's still going to be short probably $1 million. If he gets 7%, he's there.
Yeah,
with the same amount of savings. If he gets 8%, he's good.
Right.
So then it's looking at what's the asset allocation. Should he be a little bit more aggressive? 6% is a fairly conservative number over 20 years, I think.
It is.
So if he's 100% equities, he could probably get a 7.5%, 8% rate of return over 20 years. But I think from a planning perspective, Bruce and Catwoman should probably look at a 6% growth rate and maybe a 3% inflation rate just to be super conservative.
Yeah.
But then he's going to know, or they're going to know once they get closer to retirement. This is there's so many things that are going to change in life in 20 years, right?
Yeah, no, I know. And that's the good thing about thinking about this early, because you can make changes. Now, I use your 7.5%. So instead of 5.8 million, it is 7 million, right? So 7 million at 4% is what, 280,000. So now you're basically 50,000 higher. It's still short, but again, I haven't factored in Social Security, right?
He's going to max out the Social Security.
Yeah, of course.
Social Security is going to be $70,000-$80,000.
Whatever that'll be. Yeah.
Right. So I think he's right there.
Could be.
So with your bumps in pay, should you have more fun? What the hell? Yes. But just have a plan. I think this is where people mess up, is that if he strategizes and he has a plan and he maps this thing out, he's going to know when he gets a bump in pay, all right, do we want to buy a nicer house, or do we want to go on a nicer vacation? Should I get rid of my Mercedes and buy a G-Wagon or the Batmobile or whatever the case may be?
Yeah. Right? So I guess maybe
because then he has more control over the spending. He's going to be more confident in the decisions that you make,
right?
Especially if you just map this out.
Yeah. And so, so I guess that's my comment. When we do these spitballs, this is just back of the envelope based upon what little facts we have. But if you do a full-on financial plan with a qualified advisor, and
here comes the sales pitch.
I'm not selling it. I don't want to.
And you want to sit down with Big Al?
I'm retiring. I don't want to do this. Go talk to Joe. But the thing is, that's how you get this down on paper, and then you start doing some what ifs. What if I do this? What if I work 2 more years? Does this work? Or what if I get 8%? Does it work? Whatever, right?
Right. You look at professionals in their 30s and 40s, and then there's that the creep of income, right? As their income goes up, guess what? They're not saving more, their lifestyle goes up.
Yeah, that is what we see.
It's a little lifestyle creep, I think, is what the technical term is.
Yeah, right.
So, but congrats, he's out of med school. He still has a little bit of debt over his head. It's probably
it'll be forgiven.
Hopefully. Sure it will.
Well, it's part of that. What, you have to work 10 years in public service.
Got it. Yeah. Now we got Pebbles and Bam Bam from Kentuckystone.
I love that name. I remember watching the Flintstones as a little kid. Loved it. Yep.
Hello, Joe and Big Al, fan of the podcast. You two and 3 with Andy are all perfect together. I appreciate how much you all enjoy each other. We fooled Pebbles and love to get your spitball impression, along with some ideas on how to best use a brokerage account from now till RMD age. Here's the skinny. I'm Pebbles, retired, 66, with 3.2 million in a qualified account. Wow, Pebbles just been socking some pebbles away. We got 770,000 in a brokerage account, 100,000 in savings, $91,000 in a REIT, and 400,000 in Roth. Got Bam Bam. He's 61. He's still working. He earned $60,000 a year. He's got a $1 million in a qualified account, and he just started a Roth IRA. So that sounds like a pretty good chunk of money there. We got 3, 4, 5. What do you got now? About 5.5?
Yeah, 5.5. Yep.
All right. Okay. They got no debt. They have grown children. House is valued at $600,000. Drive a 2015 Lexus. Bam Bam, he drives a little Honda Spider. We do have an old Lexus RX 300 for the dog and Home Depot runs. I love old fashions, but the older I get, the more they don't love me. You got that, Big Al?
Yeah, I can
doesn't
relate.
really kind of bites you.
You just have to be a little more careful.
Okay. Here's the issue, the questions, and may I ask, what am I missing? All right. So the cash, T-bills, and Bam Bam's income are all bucketed over the next 5 years of income at about $170,000 a year. We're looking to do Roth conversions to the top of the 24% tax bracket until RMDs hit. That's in year 2030. So they got a few years. Both will collect Social Security. At 70, Pebbles 4,000, Bam Bam 2,000. Plan to pay conversion taxes with money from the brokerage account. What are your thoughts in how the brokerage account is being used? What are some other ideas for the use of the brokerage account? What am I missing? Appreciate your spitball. Cheers, Pebbles and Bam Bam. All right. Well, first of all, congratulations. You have done a phenomenal job of saving for retirement. You got Bam Bam still slugging away there, but for $60,000 a year, he's $1 million saved in retirement accounts. I don't know if this has been his job he's been working at for some time. His Social Security is half of hers. So he's a good saver. And they're looking to spend about, they're saying $170,000 a year, or that's what they're looking to, is that the income need? Is that what you got up?
I don't think they gave us their spending.
It says the income is bucketed for the next 5 years at about $170K. So hopefully that's actually what they want to spend.
It says $170,000 a year. So that's,
yeah, I know, but that's how I read that was that's Bam Bam's income plus whatever investment income. I don't know, hard to say. But if we could just use that figure for spending, and obviously they're in great shape. I mean, you take 5.5 million times 4%, 5.5 times 4%, you get 220,000, which is in excess of the 170. That's not even including Social Security. So I think the real crux of the question is, should I be doing these Roth conversions, maybe to the top of the 24%? And when I look at this, I go, yes, of course, right? Because if you look at the qualified accounts, I've just looked at Pebbles. In 7 years at her RMD age, it'll be 4.8 million, just at a 6% growth, which means an RMD required minimum distribution of $192,000, which puts them, even without any other income, in the 24% tax bracket, right? Which in 2026 will become 28% tax bracket. And who knows what it could be after that, right? So I think I think that is appropriate. I think part of the question was, should I use the brokerage account to pay the taxes to do this? And maybe not all of it, but yes, that would be a great use of this.
Yeah, you want to look at your brokerage account, and the cash is going to be your buffer that you're going to draw down. You're probably going to draw down quite a bit of it over the next several years as you're trying to convert as much money as possible to the 24% tax bracket. Right. 2026 is going to be a little bit different year depending on what happens to taxes. Do they revert back to where they were? And so you'll want to make some decisions there. Another thing that you want to consider too is that you'll have to do a little bit of math, is because there's a ton of money in qualified accounts, and they're going to have decent Social Security, and they have other assets where they might want to take money from the retirement account to live off of as well as doing conversions. Because if they want to live off $170,000, you don't want to deplete 100% of your liquid assets. So you're going to have to kind of jockey around a little bit of what is actually the true right conversion number. Is it going to be to the top of the 24, or is it going to be something less? Where do you want to live off of some of those qualified dollars that you could pull out in the 0 or 10% tax bracket?
Yeah, totally agree with that. But also keep this in mind. In 2026, we revert to the higher tax rates. So we're talking 2023, 24, 25. So we only have kind of 3 years to work with, at least under the tax system as we know it today.
Yeah. And then they would probably convert to the top of the 28% tax bracket, because their RMDs and Social Security and everything else could put them in the 28 EMT or higher.
Oh, I totally agree with that. But at least take advantage, and I totally agree with this, and probably we don't talk about this enough. Make sure you don't go broke, right, while you're doing these Roth conversions with the money that you need to live on. And you want to have emergency funds and stuff like that, right? Maybe you even earmark some funds for something fun, like a great trip or whatever. But the taxes, as we know it right now, are going up in 2026. So your best 3 years are right now and for the next 2 years to get as much converted as appropriate given your brokerage account.
Yeah. So with the amount of money that they have in qualified accounts, they might want to get a little bit creative. where yes, you want to spend most of the money that you have outside of retirement accounts to pay the tax in almost every case. But given that tax law is changing potentially, if tax rates go up with this amount of money in retirement accounts, given their spending needs and Social Security and fixed income, so it's going to be playing around with it. Because they want to draw more money out of it at these lower rates. So it's like either you're going to live off of it, or you might want to take a little bit more out and use some of those dollars to pay the taxes, even though in most cases it doesn't work as well. But I'd much rather pay tax at 24% than 32 or 35% in the future.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is IRA 401k, actually using some of those funds to pay the tax. So now you're taking money out that's taxed to pay the tax, which, by the way, we normally don't recommend. However, when you have a very high IRA balance and you've got somewhat limitations on your non-IRA balance, it can be very appropriate.
Yeah, we're not recommending anything. This is
just spitballing.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, this is not advice by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, he did say we don't normally recommend this.
Yeah,
so
we're not recommending anything at this point, too.
Yeah.
But we don't normally spitball this thought. How about that? Is that better?
All right.
For a good retirement spitball, the fellas need to know 4 things about your finances. Number 1, how much do you and your spouse, if you have one, have saved for retirement in tax-free, tax-deferred, and taxable accounts? How much fixed income will you have in retirement? That's number 2, for example, from Social Security and pensions. Number 3, kind of important, when do you want to retire? And finally, number 4, how much do you expect to spend annually in retirement, adjusted for inflation? Now, don't forget to give us whatever name you want us to call you and your real location in case state taxes factor into your spitball. Then, let us know the irrelevant details too. We want to know where or when you listen, how you found us, and of course, what you drink so that Joe and Big Al can really get into your situation. Click the link in the description of today's episode in your favorite podcast app, go to the show notes, click on Ask Joe and Big Al on air, and send in your retirement spitball. If you prefer to fiddle with the numbers and spitball for yourself, give our free new retirement calculator a try. Go to easyretirement.com. That's EASI retirement.com. Try it out, then email us and let us know what you think of it.
All right, here we go. I'm 55 years old, currently not working and loving it. Congratulations. 55, retired. Enjoying traveling around the world. And when I'm not home, taking care of cats and doing yoga. I just think of you, Al, with your new yoga habit.
I know. I don't have cats, but I do like yoga.
I'm mortgage free and budget $36,000 a year to live on. Yes, I'm a simple person who likes to cook at home most days. I drive a 2014 Honda Civic. Drink of choice is vodka soda. So my question is, if I have approximately $930,000, which is invested between safe annuities of $400,000, Roth of $85,000, Vanguard investments of $200,000, the rest in CDs and liquid, can I retire early? All right. So she wants to spend $36,000 a year. Right. She's 55, currently just doing yoga and drinking vodka sodas, sure. playing with cats.
Yeah. Probably
it's spending
probably same time. Yoga with cats is probably how I
and drinking.
Yeah.
So if you spend $36,000 a year, you don't want to pull out any more than probably 3% at age 55. You need $1.2 million, if I do the math correctly. So what that means, 1.2 million, 3% of 1.2 is 36,000.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's got 930.
Yeah, pretty close.
Because what you need to figure out, or what Susan needs to figure out, is that in 10 years, or 10, 12, or maybe less, she'll be eligible for Social Security. So that's going to bridge the gap to some degree. So maybe if she pulls out 4%, that's going to give roughly 36,000. So at 55, would you be, I'm guessing at 4, it's pretty close to 4, right?
Yeah, it's 3.9 as it stands right now. And actually 3.9 is a little rich, I would say, for a 55-year-old. However, if Social Security benefits are good and strong, then maybe that's okay. And then in some cases, people have pensions that it's like, well, yeah, then that's probably fine. I mean, it depends on those variables.
So $1 million, you've done a great job to accumulate that at 55. it just might be a little rich. It really depends on the rate of return, because what we're doing is looking at a distribution rate of how much that you can pull out of the overall account. If we have a bear market over the next 2 to 5 years, you could get in trouble. If we have a bull market where the market's up and you're fully invested, I mean, then I think you're home free. So this is why, again, it's a process. You have to be looking at this constantly to figure out, all right, what leverage do I have to pull this year? What are the things that I need to be looking at? What's the environment that I'm in? What is my lifestyle going to be? All right. So she's simple today because she probably just stopped working. She's like, fine, I want to yoga and I want to drink and I want to play with cats. But then all of a sudden, guess what? The cat gets annoying. And then the vodka sodas turn into, I don't know, maybe she wants some old fashions or some margaritas. So the cost of that is going to go up.
It can.
And now she wants to go to yoga camp and retreats.
She wants to do retreats
yoga in Hawaii.
I was going to say Italy, but yeah, Hawaii, that'd be good too.
So it's like all of a sudden or she's bored and she wants other activities and things like that. So 55 is pretty young to retire.
Yeah, I would say this is just me spitballing. I would say if this were my situation, I'd keep working myself.
You would?
Mm-hmm.
Take a hiatus. You're enjoying it now. I don't know. Take a year.
Yeah.
Take 2. She doesn't spend a ton. 36,000. You can go.
Yeah.
A job at Ralph's, make 36,000, couldn't you?
You sure could. Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to keep doing what you're doing. I guess that's the point. Yep.
Yeah. Home Depot. You could do something fun. You could do something like she could be a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Start her own business. All right. We got Will. He writes in. He goes, hello, Your Money or Wealth or YMYW trifecta. I've heard my story referenced a couple times. What's the story?
Will's the gas siphoner.
No, sir.
Really?
Will the gas siphoner.
That one. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It's been a while. So I figured it's time for me to write back. All right. During the pandemic, I restarted my trading curiosity. Oh, that's never a good sign.
I want to be a trader when I grow up.
Unfortunately, it was towards the end of the bull cycle, but I'm still determined to learn and improve to make my trading profitable. So, far, not so good.
Let's get back to losses.
All right. I know we're not supposed to time the market, but if a bear market is coming, market cycle, now wouldn't it be wise to slow down and then wait for some lower amount using basic TA to continue? TA. Anything.
Basic TA. No idea.
One might not get to the bottom, but at least it's not buying near the local top. Maybe it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, since people probably do this. They expect a bear market, don't buy stocks, and they short instead. The prices go down, feeling they're reactive traders with this signal to join in.
Well,
it's the opposite of what's...
Yeah, so here's the problem with that thinking.
Just real quick, TA, I come up with technical analysis.
Oh, okay. That's what he's trying to say.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. So bear market. So you actually know when a bear market's coming?
Are we in a bear or are we in a bull cycle right now?
You always know after the fact. And I listen to me first.
This email came a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've had a choppy market over the last couple of weeks. So if he's thinking it's a bull market, other people are thinking it's a bear market. Other people think
so here's the problem, right? So we had the Great Recession. Remember, then the market came back and that was a dead cat bounce. So we're going right back into it.
Dead cat bounce.
Yeah, remember that one?
Analysis
yeah, that's right. That's what they were saying, the TAs. And then it's like 2011, not sustainable. Going into bear market. 2012, going into bear market. 2013, going into bear market. 2014, going into the bear market. We heard that every year from pundits. You need to be conservative because this isn't going to last. And if you had done that, you would have missed the longest bull run in the history of our stock market.
Right.
There is no way to know when a bear market happens until it actually happens. And you can say, yeah, of course, all the signs were there. What do you mean all the signs were there? They were there every single year. There's valid reasons by very smart people the bear market's coming. right? Which is why we say don't time the market, stay invested, because it's impossible to predict. Now, if you could predict the bear market, this is a great strategy. But so far, very few people have been able to do that.
Well, let's really get to the brass tacks here.
Okay.
Will siphons gas on cars.
All right.
Do you think that he's got the ability, no offense to our buddy Will here, to have more information than the market itself?
Well, I think
because that's what you're betting on.
I think after you siphon the gas, you get a little bit of high.
Yeah.
So you probably do.
Because if you're thinking, all right, well, you have more knowledge than the collective market, because that's what market timing is. I'm going to get in before everyone else gets in, and the market's going to shoot up, and I'm going to get out before everyone else does. So then you either have to have information that no one else has, you have to be extremely lucky, right? Or you're forecasting. You're thinking, all right, well, here, because of this news that just came out, I feel that the markets are going to do X, Y, and Z. But guess what? Everyone else has that same information. Everyone has that same news.
Right.
Right. And people that have computers right on Wall Street are probably moving a little bit quicker than Will. No offense.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And furthermore, so the financial networks love to play negative commentary because that's what people listen to. Oh, I better listen to this, better get out of the stock market. And like people like Harry Dent and hundreds of others every single year predict the crash. It's like eventually you're going to be
right. No.
But it's like, but if you look at the long-term history of the stock market, in spite of downturns, even crashes, it's over the last 100 years, S&P is up almost 10% a year.
I'm not saying timing the market is impossible, because there's people that absolutely can do it. It's just highly improbable, right? There's a lot of luck involved, and even the smartest people on Wall Street get it wrong most of the time.
And here's how we know that is because when you go to actively traded mutual funds, right? They don't outperform the passive funds, which just buy and stay in the market. In fact, they underperform by the amount of their fees. I mean, you can look at study after study, long-term, year in, year out. Of course, there's variances, but when you look at long-term, the active managers can't beat the market because this whole thing is the market, right? And so they end up with market returns minus their higher fees because they're active managers.
All right, let's see. We got another thing I learned further was solo 401k. All right. I wish you had covered it a lot more in detail as to how it's a pretty strong way to contribute to a Roth 401k or Roth IRA, since during that time, the pandemic seemed to create a lot of self-employed gigs.
Yeah.
One can easily put away $50,000 plus of income. I think we spent some time talking about
probably, and to
not enough for Will.
To put away 50,000 income, you've got to have a pretty big income.
One website that really helped me with this was Solo 401k. Yeah, we talked about that's our friend.
That was actually my Solo 401k. Will is suggesting a completely different site, which is just Solo 401k.
Solo 401k.
Yeah. All right. Well, they're similar, I'm sure.
Priya, right? Priya, wasn't that her name?
I believe that is correct. Yeah.
Priya from Orange County.
I remember her. Yep.
Yeah. Since they have a live chat feature, could you imagine having Will in a live chat feature?
Let me tell you about how to save money on gas.
That'd be awesome.
Even if you're not a client. They were the very first custodial document provider in the industry, but I'm not affiliated with them. Just happy to pass along helpful resources. Thanks, guys. Aside from my rants, you're still the best. Andy, don't ever go. Sincerely, Will. P.S. Oh, by the way, how does Al, my spitball, sound?
My spitball pal.
No, how does my spitball pal sound?
He's referring to when you guys were saying that you guys needed nicknames.
Oh, Al, Al, my spitball pal?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think we could do better.
I don't want to use Joe, the Roth IRA.
I think that's supposed to be Schmo.
Oh, there you go. Joe, the Roth IRA Schmo. Since it's bad. So how about Joe, the Roth IRA fellow?
Yeah, but that doesn't rhyme.
Joe and fellow.
See, I call you guys the fellas all the time. So,
yeah,
I suppose it could work.
I know terms like pal and fellow aren't exactly new, cool, and fancy, but hey, they are classy. Well, good to hear from you, our friend Will.
Yes, for sure.
You always make it a little entertaining, at least for us.
That's it for us today. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll see you again next week. Show's called Your Money, Your Wealth.
YMYW listeners' drink preferences, the Flintstones, and a train station in Wales in the Derails at the end of the episode, so stick around. Help new listeners find YMYW by telling your friends and family about the show and by leaving your honest reviews and ratings for Your Money, Your Wealth in Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast apps that accept them too. Your Money, Your Wealth is presented by Pure Financial Advisors. Click the Get an Assessment button in the podcast show notes at yourmoneyyourwealth.com or call 888-994-6257 to schedule a free financial assessment in person at one of our 7 offices around the country or online at a date and time convenient for you no matter where you are. Chances are one of the experienced financial professionals at Pure will be able to identify strategies to help you create a more successful retirement. Pure Financial Advisors is a registered investment advisor. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this broadcast and does not represent that the securities or services discussed are suitable for any investor. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the broadcast in the process of making a full and informed investment decision.
Constitution State. Never heard of that. So I don't think they drafted the Constitution in Connecticut, did they?
I thought that was Massachusetts, Philadelphia, or Massachusetts. I would say Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's near there. Andy's looking it up.
Yeah.
We'll
I
have
am,
it
yes.
shortly.
Yeah.
It was designated as the Constitution State by the General Assembly in 1959.
1959.
Yeah,
Constitution was a little bit before that.
a couple years.
I'd like an ice cold margarita, but I can't go into Costco's. I can barely go into grocery stores.
Really? I like Costco.
I'm with you, Joe. I can't stand grocery stores. I'm so glad that my husband has done all the grocery shopping for the last 12 years.
There's the anxiety level. I don't know if it's the lighting in there.
Too much, right?
It's the people. Yeah, I can't do it.
I'm just thinking about.
I'm gonna have to have. Yeah, I need a shot of something
Well,
for me to go grocery shop.
Here's what you do: you go to Costco, you say like a hot dog and a margarita.
Yeah, I want a margarita. I want 2 of them. Costco just even saying that would give me even more anxiety because you can't, right? Isn't everything oversized and you're trying to buy?
Yeah. Well, you have to be careful.
Toilet paper and then you can buy a year's supply.
Buy it, storage shed.
Yeah. Okay, so then a few sips of a little sunshine beers are my top.
Sip of Sunshine. Yeah, that's the name of the beer. It's an IPA. You wouldn't like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's the old fashioned and the IPAs are probably the top drink of choice of our listeners.
Seem to be a lot. Yeah.
So when we have like a little get together at some point, invite all of our listeners. We're just going to stock it with the hazy IPAs and old fashioned.
And they're going to make you drink some of that IPAs.
I'm not touching the IPAs. I'm going to have a little side stack.
Well, I will say myself, who kind of grew up on the same as you, Coors Light, and now IPAs, hazy IPAs are my favorite beer. However,
you're going to have 2 of them and you're shot for like a week.
I can have about 1 without a headache coming on.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I think we all probably watched the Flintstones as little kids, didn't we?
Is it still on?
I'm not sure.
I haven't seen it for ages. Not that I've been looking, but I haven't run across it.
All right. When did the Flintstones come about if you watched it as a little kid?
Well, it certainly was there before I was 5, because I remember a time frame seeing it, which so it would have been 1961, 62.
First episode was September 30th of 1960.
60.
There you go.
Good call.
Yeah. So it was fresh when I saw it.
Wow. I do remember seeing the replays of the old episodes versus the newer ones, and the cartoon quality was, you could tell it was in the 60s.
You know what, though? But it was such an upgrade from black and white to color.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I think the material's the same, but Will the gas siphoner.
That one. He
gets free gas.
Right.
And we're like, how does he get free gas? Is he like stealing it?
Yeah. That's we just put the pieces together.
Have you been to?
I guess it's a train station.
Landfair, Pugly, Wuggly, Chugly, Wanna Go
Silio Gugugooch.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to pronounce it, Andy?
It's like this.
Chanveer Puchvingeh Gogerish Vindrobo Chantisilio Gogogo.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try that.
That's what we did. We said exactly that, didn't
It's
we?
a train station in Welsh. Is it really spelt that way?
Yes.
It's legit?
Yes.
Definitely.
Now that Joe has had to exercise his reading skills, that's not even reading.
Yeah. That's like
Just give me a simple
Guessing.
sentence.
Apparently, in Welsh, it means Saint Maria Church in the White Hazel Forest near the rapid whirlpool beside Saint Cecilio of the Red Cave.
so it's a sentence without spaces.
Got it.
Right.